Uh, this is a really great time to come together and have a presentation like this. We all know tomorrow is Thanksgiving, and an opportunity for Americans to stop and look back over the last year and reflect on the blessings that we have received, and an opportunity to gather with family and with friends and to recommit to community. But as we do that, it's important for all of us to realize that there are many in our community who don't have the basics. They may not have a meal cooked with their own hands. They may depend on the charity of others. And they may not have a roof over their heads. In the 3 years that I've been mayor, the issue of homelessness has been very high on my agenda. And the City of Houston Housing Department has been working with me to address a whole complex of issues having to do with homelessness. But another partner in that effort is the Houston Housing Authority, which is a partner organization or a sister organization, but an organization that we work closely with to address these issues. I appreciate the fact that the Houston Housing Authority has not only recommitted to its mission of managing the public housing in the city of Houston, but has committed to looking for innovative ways to extend its reach and to do more with the tools that it has available. So today, the City of Houston and the Houston Housing Authority are announcing a plan to add 1,000 units of permanent housing for homeless Houstonians within the next 2 years through $100 million in project-based vouchers funded by HUD. It sounds complicated, and it's like, okay, housing-based vouchers, what does that mean? The bottom line is, and why we're here today, it is once more City of Houston, the Housing Authority, the various agencies that have a piece of the puzzle of homelessness. We're coming together, stepping up, and taking another giant step forward by providing these 1,000 additional units of permanent housing. I want to allow the Houston Housing Authority, which is really the lead on this, to step up and talk about the details of the program. I just want to be here to publicly thank them for working so closely with the City of Houston and for their willingness to rethink how they do business and to continuously look for opportunities to move forward. And actually, I note that our Congresswoman is coming in. I'm going to pause here for just a moment. Congresswoman, I saw you come in, and so I paused the program. Right over here, because I knew there was a chair up here.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
I had, Congresswoman, I had just announced that how proud I was as a representative of the City of Houston that the Houston Housing Authority has done such an outstanding job over the last couple of years in not just addressing its day in and day out mission, but finding new ways to serve more Houstonians. And that today we are announcing the addition of 1,000 units of permanent housing for homeless Houstonians through $100 million in project-based vouchers funded by HUD. The commitment to help the homeless and low-income Houstonians get on their feet, become part of Houston's economic engine is not a one-time thing. It's an ongoing process for the city of Houston, and it is clearly now part of the mission for the Houston Housing Authority. Being here together on Thanksgiving, there couldn't be a better time to announce this new initiative. And so now it is my honor to invite Tori Consali, the Houston Housing Authority President and CEO, to step up and really talk about the details of the program. Tori?
You might be on a schedule. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for being here, and thank you, Mayor, for your leadership and support in this issue. Thank you, Commissioners, for your trust in stepping out in this way. It might be a little scary and uncomfortable, but I appreciate your trust. Homelessness here in Houston is a serious problem. We have thousands of homeless in Houston. Last January, over 7,300 people were counted as homeless in one night in January. There are thousands more who weren't homeless that night that became homeless, and it is a serious problem. We're talking about families with kids, veterans, individuals, people with disabilities. But I'm here to tell you the biggest difference between the homeless and me is I have a home and they don't. And that's why I really feel that the Housing Authority had to get involved. And I wasn't the only one. The U.S. Congress passed a mandate for the U.S. Interagency Council on the Homeless to come up with a national strategic plan. The City of Houston has gotten behind this plan, and that plan has established a national goal of ending veteran homeless and chronic homeless by 2015. And the actions that the Housing Authority has taken today is really kind of the start of laying down a marker in ending veterans homelessness and chronic homelessness in Houston. In connection with the release of this national plan, Houston as a community began its effort to house the chronic veteran homeless. You might have heard about this 100 by 100 effort that the Housing Authority undertook. We had over 15 different partners, a couple of whom are with me today, and we couldn't have done it alone, and we didn't do it alone. Through that 100 by 100 effort, I realized two things. The first was, housing homeless has been one of the most rewarding things I've done in my career. There is simply nothing that matches the satisfaction of taking somebody from here to a place like here. And that's what this is about. And these pictures are recent pictures of an encampment here in Houston, people who had been homeless for over 10 years. The main individual was blind, and today he has an apartment. That's what we're talking about. And so the 100 by 100 got me thinking about what else can we do, and what else can the Housing Authority do? And at the same time, I was challenged by the Interagency Council on the Homeless, and by HUD, and by others, to really ask ourselves, what can the Housing Authority do? And that's why we're here today, because we sat down and figured out what exactly can we do. So, having seen the value of biting off a goal that seems a little bit bigger and a little scary, and the ease of remembering nice round numbers, I'm excited to announce, to my knowledge, the single largest release of project-based vouchers for permanent supportive housing targeted for the homeless in the history of any housing authority in the country. The Housing Authority is going to release today a request for proposals for 1,000 project-based vouchers. The estimated value of is over $100 million. So before concluding, there are just a couple of questions that I think some folks might ask themselves that I'd like to address. And the first is, that's great, what is a project-based voucher? A project-based voucher is a housing choice voucher that used to be known as a Section 8 voucher. And it's attached to a person normally, but for a project-based voucher, it's attached to the unit. So a developer can take this commitment from the Housing Authority and go to a bank and that will give the developer the ability to build new housing specifically targeted for the homeless in this case. The good news is for the tenant, they still have the ability to have a mobile voucher after staying in their new unit for 1 year. So it's truly a win-win. There's no downside to a project-based voucher. It keeps the vouchers here in Houston, and it leverages their value. The second question that some folks might be asking is, what is supportive housing? Well, supportive housing is an innovative and proven solution to solve some of the community's toughest problems, like homelessness. It combines affordable housing with supportive services to help people who face a myriad of complex challenges that otherwise prevent them from living stable and dignified lives. Supportive housing has been proven to be more cost-effective than the current system of emergency shelter and emergency high-cost crisis care. So finally, what's next? The RFP is open. I have some copies here if there are developers in the room. It's also on our website, and we will be selecting proposals on January 10th at 4 o'clock. We will then go through an evaluation process and bring it to our Board of Commissioners and start to award these vouchers. However, we still have a challenge as a community, and that's the need to find and dedicate service dollars to match these housing dollars. And I'm committed, and I know that the partners from 100 by 100 and the partners here today are committed to finding solutions to truly make this a successful project. Finally, I'd like to end with the thought of 100 by 100 was very, very exciting. And I would love to turn this into 1,000 by 1,000. And I think that Houston needs to do this, and I believe that Houston will do this. Thank you, and have a happy Thanksgiving.